If you want to come into the Lord's presence to hear his decision on a matter, he demands that you come in thanksgiving. Do you know what that means? That means you got to give thanks before you before you have a new perspective. That means you got to recognize, wait a second, okay, this tension in this relationship, the Lord's in it somewhere. I have to trust that. And so I can go to the Lord in thanks. Thank you, God, for this situation. I don't really know what's going on, but I trust you in it. I just want to thank you for it. And in my thanksgiving, I can come into his gate. I gain a fresh perspective, a heavenly one, and suddenly I see differently. To gain a transformed or fresh perspective in God's presence requires us to choose thanksgiving prior to him explaining anything. That means, in all submissiveness, you have to trust that that leader who you don't agree with is an agent of God, and that they know things you don't. And that in your submission to authority, you're entrusting your life to God. And that in your dynamic relationship, you're choosing to submit and to serve someone else's agenda with thankfulness, even when you don't agree. And in that tension and dynamic, if you will choose to enter into his gate, you will find that these situations, these decision points, that God will usher you in as a person who has the ear of the king, because your grace, because your thankfulness, God's grace transforms the dynamic, touches their life, gives you a fresh perspective. And when God's grace touches the situation, they see you with favor. And so instead of the obstinate employee that just refuses to do what I'm asking you to do, the political party that just refuses to do what the people are asking them to do, the leader who just seems to be obstinate and not hear, your boss who disagrees with you, even all your good ideas, they just can't hear you. There's something wrong with them. Your parent who they just don't understand this generation, and if they would just understand, then suddenly it would be different. And all of the ways that we blame others, all of that gets touched and transformed when we just trust that the Lord is in those situations. Do you want God to invade a dynamic like that? Okay. Enter his gate with thanksgiving so you can gain a fresh perspective. So that when you interact with that person in the future, you'll be submissive and honorable, and you'll have respect. And the favor that you're carrying will transform how they see you, and it'll transform their hearing ear. You'll become like a Daniel who could serve a wicked king. You'll become like a Nehemiah that when you come into a wicked king's presence, carrying his cup, that a wicked king would see Nehemiah's face as being downcast, not happy, ask him about it, and suddenly in one little exchange, that wicked king is paying for the rebuilding of Jerusalem. God's will. How did you get there? Nehemiah transformed the dynamic of that throne room. Man, if you get this, you'll never be in a hostile situation again.